he's gonna announce that they signed, and then I'm gonna post the video and look even dumber than I normally do. But I can live with that. Looking at the board here, got a nice little ranking of the free agents. Number 1, apparently, Paul George, playoff P. He's got a player option. Apparently the issue right now is he wants a 4-year extension. The Clippers are only offering him 3. That's the difference right now. I don't think that's too big of a difference. I think the Clippers will eventually just sign him to it. They're building a new stadium. They need Kawhi, they need PG, they need Harden, even Westbrook. They need these guys to headline this new stadium. This is not the time to rebuild, even though it is the time to rebuild. But they're so deep into this thing. They don't have draft picks for. They don't have draft picks forever. They don't have any. They gotta just continue to go at it. Even with Paul George being 34, I think he ends up staying with the Clippers. I don't think they have. I think it's the best thing for both of them. You know, the Clippers, their future is screwed, so they have to just keep sinking their teeth into what they're already doing. And for Paul George is not going to win anything. He's not going to win anything at all. He's always going to fall short, no matter who he's playing with. So, if he goes to the Sixers, and the team, of course, inevitably falls short, or he goes somewhere else and, they don't play well, he's going to look even worse. It'd be best for Paul George to just stay in LA with the Clippers and lose there, because that's already expected at this point. So I do think the Clippers will end up just kind of giving him that 4th year, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see. But I really think it's the Clippers, or if the Sixers want to do something, if the Sixers offer some kind of trade. I don't know what they would trade. I guess it would be all picks, but don't the salaries have to match too? Aren't the Clippers I don't know. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I guess he could just decline his player option, just go right to Philly. I guess that's the main option for the Philly one, because they can just sign him outright. If it's any other team, it's going to end up being a trade. They'll opt in and then trade, kind of like how Porzingis was traded last year. Number 2 on the board, Tyrese Maxey. This seems to be one of the easiest ones. The Sixers are going to resign him. He's a restricted free agent, so any team that comes in, they're going to have to offer him something. They're going to tie up their books for a guy who's probably going to get the offer sheet matched anyways. So this seems to be one of the easier selections. Tyrese Maxey's a solid player. They just need some kind of third guy, or just some solid role players. Some good 3-and-D guys. The Sixers, they got a lot of work to do, but I think signing Maxey long-term is definitely going to put them in the right direction. The Pacers, Siakam, so they traded for him with 1 year left on his deal at the deadline. They made it to the conference finals. This one, another one that was pretty clear that unless something really bad happened, it seemed like Siakam was going to re-sign with the Pacers. So, yeah, there's that. And it's already been reported he intends to sign a 4-year max deal. So him and Halliburton, they're going to be boys for a couple of years together. And that seems like a solid fit for sure. But yeah, it seems like it's already a lock. He's going to stay with the Pacers. We'll move on. We got LeBron at number 4. Man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. Although, looking at this, I did learn the over 38 rule. I've heard of that one before. LeBron's 40. So, he can't sign a deal longer than 3 years. I've seen, rumors he's looking for that last big 4-year payday or something. I don't know, but he can't even do that. I guess because of this age rule, it came into play with Chris Paul as well. We saw the same thing. That's why he has this year that whole $30 million non-guaranteed. I guess it had to be like that or something. I don't know, but it's a same thing with LeBron. So him opting out, he's pretty much. I guess he's gonna take another 1+1 like he always does. I don't know. Where's Bronny going? This thing it's so weird, and it's almost like not even worth it. You know, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know what to think. This LeBron on the Lakers. I mean, it's pretty similar to like Brady with the Pats that last year. It's like, all right, we didn't have a good year, and we can't really improve the roster going into next year. We can't really improve it that much. And we also need you to take like less money, or okay, that's a little different. But it's just the Lakers. They're not looking good. Now they could still be contenders just because they have LeBron and AD. If their role players step up, make it happen. You know, that could. It's definitely possible, but it feels like if LeBron really wants to win, he's got to look elsewhere. But then he's just ring chasing. So like, what is he going to land on a stacked team? Is he going to the Thunder just because they have that cap space? I don't know. I really think. I think he declined this just to. He's going to get the max amount of money from the Lakers. They're going to give it to him. I don't think he's going anywhere. It would be cool if he was actually looking to go other places, but in terms of cap, I just don't know who's out there. Maybe the Sixers. Are the Sixers? Is he really looking at the Sixers? Is LeBron looking to play for the Sixers? I don't know. I think him, Maxey, and Embiid, good fit, but it hasn't really seemed like a possibility. Now maybe the camp's just keeping it quiet, whatever, but OKC is another one. They got like $30 million in cap space. He'd be taking a little bit less, but if he, who wouldn't take $30 million for a chance at joining a team and making them super stacked? I don't know. I think he just stays with the Lakers. I just haven't really. It feels like nothing else seems possible. So moving on, OG Anunoby, he has a player option, and he wants more money. That's pretty much why the Raptors moved him last year. This year during the deadline, because they knew he's going to decline it and need to be paid a lot more money. The Raptors just weren't willing to do that, so they moved him to the Knicks. Knicks seem more willing, but I don't know. I feel like a max is too much for him. He's a really good player, Anunoby, but I don't see him as like a max player. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to get, but I think the Knicks are going to give it to him because he's such a solid piece. I think him and Brunson are going to end up getting contracts. Brunson's going to get an extension. OG's just going to get his big, I don't know, I guess a 5-year deal isn't coming for him. But, yeah, he's good 3-and-D guy, really good on defense. I don't know. I think he ends up getting overpaid, but I don't know if the Knicks really have a choice. Like, and what's the difference? Like, oh, you overpay him by $5 million, $10 million. What's another $10 million player? Is that another player like that really going to come in and help? I don't know. I don't think so. So, whatever he gets. They'll just start dipping into the tax for whatever they got to do. They got to sell a team, so they're looking to make moves. But moving on. Number 6, DeRozan. I don't think there's no way he comes back to the Bulls, man. There's no way. The Bulls need to let him go. It's all right. You just gotta let it go. You gotta start rebuilding. You didn't trade the guy. He's just too old for you guys to give him another contract unless they want to just eat up space. Unless they want to re-sign him and then move him. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I think DeRozan will end up going somewhere with cap space. I don't know where that is. The Sixers. I think the Sixers are looking at Paul George and LeBron, if that's even possible. If that doesn't work, I think they're looking at DeRozan. I think DeRozan with, maybe he's not the craziest defender, but in terms of offense, like have him be that third guy with Maxey, with Embiid. Embiid gets injured, him and Maxey, they can hold down the fort offensively. They still need to build a lot of the rest of the roster. But I think DeRozan's going to be a Sixer. And I think the Sixers, hey, it's either him. I think it's either him or Brandon Ingram. Like, what else? What else do they're trading for Brandon Ingram. At least DeRozan, you can just sign. Ingram, they'd have to trade for him because he's got 1 year left. So I'm going to guess DeRozan ends up being a 76er. I do think it'll happen, and I think it'll be pretty good for them. I don't know if they're quite contenders. They're definitely going to be up there. But it just depends on the rest of the roster. But I think DeRozan will end up getting some kind of deal. Maybe it's 2 year, 3 year, maybe it is 4. I don't know. But the Sixers, they got to go all in right now. DeRozan, Embiid, and Maxey getting a new deal. I think it'll be worth it for him. Immanuel Quickley, the Raptors, they traded for him and RJ. Not bad. Quickly, he had 1 year left, so it was known like, hey, this guy's gonna need to get paid. They're gonna have to pay this guy. I think it'll happen. Restricted free agent, same thing. They got his rights. I think they'll just give him a deal. I don't see why not. Make him kind of the guard partner with Scotty for the future. I don't know. Scotty Barnes also needs an extension. He's got 1 year left. But I think they like the pairing. Maybe they let him walk. I don't know. That would be interesting. I don't even know where he would go, but restricted free agents, I always just assume like it's either a sign and trade, or I don't even know if you can sign and trade in this situation, but nobody likes to match these things, because when you offer up give an offer sheet, it holds up your cap space, and then you have to wait for the Sixers to either match it or not match it, and you get the guy. So it holds up cap space, so any team that has cap space probably not going to use that on a guy like Immanuel Quickley. But moving on, Nick Claxton, I think, is a really interesting one. He's the type of guy that, could he finagle his way onto a contending team like the Thunder, who need a center? Can they give him money? Yes, they can give him a lot of money. Would he help with their rebounding? Maybe. But he seems like an interesting guy, because he could definitely, take a little bit less money, be a really good player for a solid team, or he can kind of just take a bunch of money from the Nets and just keep losing for a couple of years, and then maybe get moved at the deadline eventually. I think that's what's going to happen. He'll take the best thing he can get from the Nets, and he'll be there long term. And then, they always have the option of, in the future, like, hey, next year, they really don't have a good roster. They trade McHale. They move Claxton to somebody who would have offered him the deal in the offseason, and then they get actual assets from it. So I don't think they let Claxton walk for nothing. He could, but we'll see. I think the Nets end up bringing him back. Another guy probably getting brought back, James Harden. I don't know where the interest would even be from other teams for James Harden. But he's got 1 year. He was traded to the Clippers knowing he had 1 year. But they can, once again, they have his bird rights. They can go into the tax. I think they need him. I think they need him and Paul George. But, man, he's going to be 35 in August. He's going to get a small deal. No more than 3 years. His will be 2 or 3. There's no way they give him. I mean, maybe if they sign Paul George and, they have the timeline matches up with him and Kawhi. I don't know. Maybe they give him all the same deal, but I expect James Harden to just go right back to the Clippers. They did trade for him. I think they expect to bring him back as well. Maybe it's for less money, maybe not, but either way, they're in the tax, so they should be able to do it. Malik Monk, I thought he was going to end up leaving the Kings, but it's already been reported. It looks like he's going to stay. He's going to stay. 4 year, $78 million deal. Pretty solid for him. Gets to stay with his buddies, or with his buddy, De'Aaron Fox, and he has a nice 6-man role there. And maybe he starts, or I don't know, he probably starts. I don't know what happened, but great player. I really did think he would end up somewhere else like the Magic, or just somebody, I don't know where he, or even the Spurs. I thought the Spurs would have been an interesting one. Just get a guard to pair with Wemby. But, yeah, he's staying with the Kings. So, KCP, he has a player option with the Nuggets. He's going to decline it. He's going to get paid more. To the Nuggets, they let Bruce Brown walk last year. Do they panic this year and try to sign him and not let another guy walk away? I don't know. This one I'm really not sure about. I'm not sure where he would fit. I think if he declined, the Sixers could give him a lot of money. There's some other not as good teams. If he wants to get max amount of money, there's some not great teams that have cap space. But there's not a ton of them. But I think best thing for him is hope that the Nuggets just give him a nice deal to bring him back and then just go into the tax. But I don't know if that would happen. I'm not sure with this KCP one. I don't have a guess. I assume the Nuggets end up bringing him back. But we'll see. I don't know what kind of deal. I don't know. Another one I'm really not sure about. Miles Bridges for the Hornets. Are the Hornets looking to bring him back? They didn't trade him last year at the deadline when he was on a cheaper deal. Maybe nobody's looking for him. I don't know. Not sure. But apparently he's going to be a $30 million a year guy. I'm not sure. I really am not sure with Miles Bridges. I don't even have a guess. I don't even have a guess for Miles either. But we'll move on. Isaiah Hartenstein. The Knicks, they're looking to ship Mitchell Robinson. They're he's always injured. Good rim protector. That just seems like they're shopping around, seeing what they can get for him. If they move Mitchell, they do not free up any money. They can't pay Hartenstein more money. The only thing that moving Mitchell would do would be, hey, Isaiah, the starting spot's yours. Mitchell's gone. You're not going to play because he's injured. So maybe Hartenstein, I don't know. They can't pay him more than $72 million for 4 years, which I think would be a solid deal for him. Maybe he could get more. I don't think I would want to be a team that would pay him more than $72 million over 4 years. But hey, if they move Robinson and they're like, hey, $72 million over 4 years, and you can start, are you interested? I think that's the pitch. But we'll see. Who knows? They have to move Mitchell first, so we don't even know if they can do that. We have no idea. I think Hartenstein, I think there's a chance he likes his role with the Knicks, that new starting role. If they move Mitchell, takes the deal, even though maybe it's less than what he can get. If he doesn't go with the Knicks, I think the Thunder are certainly looking at him. They need a center. They need somebody to kind of rotate in with Chet, maybe play him at the 4. Who knows? But they need something. They need something, some kind of depth at that position. Everywhere else, they're pretty set. So, and they have that cap space that Gordon Hayward, he's coming off the books. They're not bringing him back, I don't think. But Hartenstein would fit pretty well in that cap space. So, Klay Thompson, number 14 here. The Warriors really seems like they're just going to let him go. It makes sense. They don't really have a contender. The tax situation, the cap, it's really messed up for them. And I think Chris Paul may be a casualty as well, unless they can trade him with his $30 million. But Klay Thompson, unless he takes less, the Warriors, they're not really looking at him now. And I guess he was looking at the Magic. I don't know. I don't know where Klay's going. I don't know who's going to be interested. I feel like he's just washed at this point. But if a contender or some kind of team says, hey, we can get value out of this guy, even though he's 34 years old and hasn't really been the same since he tore his ACL twice. But what can you do? But I don't know where Klay's going. Tyus Jones, I don't know where he's going. Maybe the Magic, I don't know. Tobias Harris, if the Sixers bring him back, I would laugh. But he's still okay. You can give him a little bit of money. I could actually see the Sixers. I could see them, using most of the cap space on somebody else bigger. But then if they gave Harris like a small little multi-year team-friendly type contract, I could see him just coming back and just playing in that reduced role that he was already playing while getting paid $38 million a year, But I could see it. But I don't know who else would even look for him. Maybe some kind of veteran team with cap space that just wants to fill it up. Who knows? Patrick Williams. Man, he got injured. He turned down an extension beginning of the year for $64 million, 4 years. Probably shouldn't have, but I don't know. he's just not that good. It doesn't seem like maybe I don't see enough Bulls games, but he just seems like a complete non-factor. He's a decent shooter from three though, and he's a big man, so maybe he could carve out a role somewhere. I think the Bulls should just maybe offer him that same deal, keep it low, and let him see if he can develop a few more years for the future. Somebody bad's gonna sign him for a couple years and see if they can develop him. So might as well be the Bulls, because they need some young guys to at least try to develop. Gary Trent Jr. Really good at shooting threes when he's not covered, but when he's covered, he can't seem to hit anything. Some team looking for a knockdown three, and it's some kind of team that, if any team that can create open looks from three, is going to be looking at Gary Trent. But no clue where he's going to go. Royce O'Neal, no clue where he's going to go. I think maybe the Suns will end up trying to keep him, but he might want too much money for what they are willing to give or want to give. Okoro, I got no clue. I think the Cavs will just kind of, I don't know. I think they could sign him for a small, much smaller deal. Yeah, like 13, right? Or 13, 15 million. That's actually not that bad. Maybe they could do that. Russell, he's got an $18 million player option. Apparently, he's going to decline it, maybe, and wants more money, or an extension, or enter free agency. I don't know. Somebody's going to pay him a decent amount of money. Don't know if it'll be the Lakers, but somebody will. Even though maybe not quite worth it, but the numbers are good enough. So, Buddy Hield, Sixers made a trade for him. I think the Sixers will try to hold on to him. Give him the least amount of money that he'll accept. But he could also end up anywhere. Solid shooter. Especially could be a solid piece to have if he's on a not so bad contract, but we'll see. I think he stays with the Sixers. Caleb Martin, some bad team is going to give him a decent amount of money for him to shoot pretty well. He's not a bad player. I don't think the Heat want to pay him what, maybe they do, I don't know, but he probably wishes he was a free agent last year after their playoff run. Not this year. He wasn't quite as good, still solid, but we'll see. Fontecchio, Pistons, no idea. Valanciunas, Pelicans should just let this guy go. Obi Toppin is an interesting one. He's a restricted free agent. I don't know if the Pacers want to hold on to him. I assume they will, but if not, maybe the Sixers. I think Toppin's like a worst case scenario type for the Sixers cap space. I think he's somebody they might look at. I don't think he'll go there, but just an interesting piece. I'm just saying, if everything else falls through for the Sixers, go get Obi Toppin. Why not? Derek Jones. He was on the minimum last year. He's gonna get a pay increase from somebody. Not sure where. Maybe the Mavs bring him back. I think they should. But at this point, Melton, Kyle Anderson, Oubre, I think he goes back. Westbrook, I don't know. Maybe I think he'll decline the player option. They might have to pay him a tiny bit more. Gary Harris, not a bad shooter. I don't know where he'll end up. I think the Magic probably just let him go. He just wasn't good with them last year, but Marshall, Beasley, Monte, no clue. No clue where these guys are going. No idea. Precious is an interesting one. Patazi's a decent backup center. I think Batum maybe stays with the Sixers. Drummond, I think he'll stay with the Bulls. I don't know. Tough to say, but he's a backup at this point, so I think he might like his role. Markelle Fultz, I think the Magic bring him back. Jalen Smith, get that player option, man. I don't know what else you would get, but Sadiq Bey is an interesting one, but got injured this year. Who knows what'll happen? Chetty, no clue. Tillman, I'm worried the Celtics probably won't be able to bring him back. I hope they do for like a multi-year small deal, but who knows? Reggie Jackson, not sure what he'll do with the player option. I don't think he can get much more. I assume he just takes the player option, but Hayward. That's funny, it says Hayward Hornets. yeah, he probably, it's funny. He might have preferred to finish in Charlotte. That's funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We covered all of the relevant ones here. So yeah, there it is. There's our free agency video. I don't think I have any crazy predictions. If anything, I think I'm playing it too safe on my picks. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty interesting. I saw this thing. It was like, oh, Paul George is going to be that first domino to fall. I think it's just LeBron. I think everybody's kind of just waiting on LeBron. And then once he just goes back to the Lakers, they'll be like, all right, well, we'll just do what we figured we'd have to do anyways. So, but yeah, I think, like I said, I don't think anything crazy. I think Paul George ends up staying. Maxey, LeBron stays. OG stays. DeRozan, like I said, I see him as a Sixer. Claxton, I think he's going to be really interesting, but I think he ends up staying for that bigger role with the Nets and also the max amount of money. I think Harden stays. Malik's going to stay. So a lot of interesting stuff. But the fact that I predicted all these things now, it's probably just, it's going to be the craziest thing ever, and nothing I said is going to be right. So we'll see. We'll see.